If you were to tell someone 304 days ago that PSG would lift the Champions League and would be crowned as the best team in the world, no one would believe you. Yet after offloading their star player Kylian Mbappe, they've done the unthinkable. Destroying every big team in their path. Was it by chance? Was it just a puzzle slowly coming into place? Or was it years of work hidden in the background that would all lead up to this very moment? We have to go all the way back to 2021 where this story begins, specifically the 10th of August at 9:27 PM.
We're just going to break away and bring you some breaking news regarding Messi.
Lionel Messi.
He has fully agreed the terms on a 2-year contract to join Paris Saint-Germain.
PSG announced the signing of Lionel Messi from Barcelona, reuniting him with Neymar Jr. at the French club. PSG looked to be constructing a super team here. A front three of Messi, Neymar and Mbappe was deemed to be unstoppable. People labelled it as the best front three in football, and now all of a sudden, all eyes were on PSG to shine with this team. Alongside new signings like Sergio Ramos, Wijnaldum, Hakimi and more, this team was not just hyped, but expected to win silverware. It initially began well. They were top of the league and managed their way through the Champions League groups like any normal season. And after being 2-0 up to Real Madrid in the second leg, it was all looking good as the expectations were being matched. However, the last 45 minutes were to completely turn their season upside down. A rapid Benzema hat-trick spoiled their game as PSG were eliminated early in the Champions League. This was a huge blow and completely derailed their season. They still won the Ligue 1 despite their dodgy away record, however were knocked out of the cup in a shock early defeat to Nice. The 21-22 season was defined as mediocre for Pochettino and his team. The expectations set were nowhere near the actual results. Pochettino was sacked and replaced by Christophe Galtier, who pretty much matched the results from the previous season. Won the Ligue 1, eliminated from the round of 16s of the Champions League, as well as the Cup. Within 2 years, PSG had turned from having this perfect team that could achieve anything to a dying and suffering failure. Something had to change, and it had to change fast. The 23-24 season saw Luis Enrique take over as manager, who oversaw potentially 2 of the biggest departures, Lionel Messi to Inter Miami and Neymar Jr. to Al Hilal. After 2 years, that deemed perfect front three had been separated, which begins to ask the question, was the problem after all the big three? We'll talk about that later, but for now Enrique had a problem. He needed to replace those 4 talents. He wasted no time and made big statement signings like Kolo Muani for €80 million, Ramos for €65 million, and most interestingly, Dembele for €50 million, as well as more key signings like Barcola, Lucas Hernandez, Asensio and more. It was clear the path Enrique was striving for, yet questions were still raised over his signings. Like why sign Dembele, who scored just 8 goals the season before and was plagued with constant injuries, for a whopping €50 million? There were a number of highs and lows throughout this season. However, they still managed to reach the semi-finals of the Champions League, narrowly missing out to Dortmund. It was obvious progress was made, but the team is still missing something. It just wasn't clear what yet. The next season saw the departure of Mbappe after 7 years at the club. This was seen as a huge blow for the club as they now needed to find someone able to fill his boots. Enrique decided on bringing on Kvaratskhelia from Napoli, as well as João Neves and Desire Doué, 2 young players hoping to strengthen the midfield. The transfer window was focused more on exits as Enrique ruthlessly got rid of a massive 35 players from the squad. Again, the goal this season was European glory, but with Mbappe's departure, it seemed to be impossible to achieve. And that was evident at the start of the season as they struggled in this new Champions League format, losing to Arsenal, Atletico and Bayern. They were 2-0 down to Man City as they were on the brink of an early exit on the 22nd of January 2025. But then, at 10:21 PM, The minute that not only changed PSG, but football as a whole forever.
It's a grand stage for a huge game. Tries to go with it, pull back, good chance, Donovan will say, Grealish! There's a chance for another waiting! Chester thinking of giving themselves up to waiting.
At 10:21 PM, it clicked.
Here goes the shot! It's in! And there's the chance!
Goals from Dembele, Barcola, Neves and Ramos completed a monumentous comeback to rescue their European hopes. However, little did anyone know that this wasn't just a one-off result, this was the start of complete domination. After casually beating Brest 10-0 in aggregate to reach the Champions League knockouts, within a few days PSG turned from a struggling side to a team that is feared upon and were now favourites to win the trophy. Star players like Dembele and Doué showed up performing week after week. They squeezed past Liverpool and Aston Villa in the next rounds before breezing past Arsenal to reach the final, up against Inter Milan. This was their chance to redeem themselves from the 2020 final and lift the Champions League trophy for the first time in the club's history. And well, you know the rest. "5-0, the biggest scoreline in a UCL final ever. An unbelievable statement as they lifted the Champions League trophy. They've now breezed through the Club World Cup, destroying some of the best teams in the world like Inter Miami 4-0 and even Real Madrid 4-0. So was this all an accident? Did it all just happen by chance? When watching PSG, you can visibly see that they are a joy to watch. The free-flowing, fast-paced football is so refreshing. Comparing it to the likes of Pep's slow, playing from the back kind of style, Luis Enrique is key in this team. A rapid and vibrant style has made PSG really shine this season. Enrique brought an entirely new vision and approach to PSG. Beforehand they focused on sort of celebrity players, and this was evident in their past signings. Neymar, Messi, Di Maria, Ibrahimovic, Beckham and more. The big three up front in 2021 just didn't work. Even Enrique agreed. You can't have 3 star players all playing for the same team. It just doesn't work. Each player demanded different things, and instead of working together, they pretty much worked against each other. And plus, they weren't young. Neymar was 30, Messi was 34, and Mbappe's young age didn't rescue this. They may have been good before, but it doesn't mean they were still good. It was clear that they were approaching the end of their careers, yet PSG refused to believe that, which led to its eventual failure. After Enrique, the strategy switched to a more disciplined first team focus. This was seen clearly as Enrique offloaded over 30 players. It was clear that the standard he wanted. If you compare the team that started in the UCL final this year compared to the one in 2020, Marquinhos is the only player left. Enrique and the board completely overhauled the team and began focusing on smart signings, a mix of younger prospects as well as more experienced players. It's difficult to explain why it works, but it just does. It's the right players, the right manager at the right time, and a potentially revolutionised football. In general, PSG completely ripped out their old structure and began playing as a full team, from defence to midfield to attack, rather than relying on certain big name players. Was this sudden rise unexpected? Yeah, but was it accidental? Not really. Instead, it was years of hard work going on behind the scenes, which all led to them being crowned as European champions, as well as the best team in the world right now. So will it continue? Leave your thoughts down below, and after you do, check out this video right here.